Yo, what's cracking lacking? I just got really inspired by a homie. Shout out Max. He just uploaded his first like YouTube video in the sense where it's just him talking. As far as I know, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe he's done other ones in the past, but it's the first one I've seen, and it's on a new channel and stuff. So I think from what he said, I think it's the first time he just clicks record and just talks, and it was super fire, man. It was like a 30-minute video, and I was engaged. I was just like, I was having a little bit of breakfast, which breakfast was literally 2 bars of chocolate, as in like, 2 bars, not like two fucking, But yeah, I was listening. That's when I saw the video, because he sent it to me. I was like, whoa, this is sick. And my original plan was like, okay, it's 30 minutes. Like, I'm only watch like the first few minutes now. I'm gonna get like my day started and I'll watch it later. But honestly, I was invested, man. Like, I think he has a gift to be able to just talk and keep you invested, and he keeps a good pace. And at the end of the day, he's just expressing himself. Like, he's just being him. And I know he said like it feels kind of weird, like when you're not used to talking to the camera alone. He was saying it almost feels like you're a little bit crazy, like you're a little insane, which I can understand. But I feel like, from what I saw, I feel like he was quite in flow at one point. I mean, for most of it, it looked like he was in flow. I don't know how he perceived it internally, but man, that flow is so liberating. I really hope he felt that liberation of expressing that stuff out there. Because basically, he started the video off by saying, look, I got a lot of homies that live abroad. We don't see each other often. And, for a lot of people, the way that they're going to update each other and catch up in these situations is by hopping on a call, like a phone call or a video call. And since I've known him almost, like, he's always been clear about the fact that, it's just a little bit of a weird communication for him. Just the whole digital thing, like, it's just weird to him, and it doesn't flow the same, which is understandable. So I'm really glad that he got to express in that way. And I already saw one of our close homies, Pete, saw it. I saw it. So he knows that already 2 of his homies have heard what he had to say, just by opening up. So not only did he open up to himself, he put the words to what was going on in his mind, which maybe helped him clear his mind a bit, I'm guessing. And then also he got to share with me and Pete, and then anyone else is gonna watch the video, which I don't know, maybe he sent it to other people, or also just the algorithm might pick it up, because it's a brand new channel. But it was such a good video, man. Max, if you're watching this, man, shout out to you, bro. Like, that was honestly so dope. And as you've noticed, like, I had a period of like 2 weeks where I was posting almost every day, and now it's been almost like 3 weeks since. And like, I had some ideas come up to me in the last like days. Yesterday we filmed a video of me and some homies making a song in the park, which I think is a cool video. Like, the song's kind of weird, but it's not. I mean, it's not bad. It's just like, it's not necessarily probably something that we would release, I don't think, personally. But the video, I think, was really cool, and it was just like an interesting vibe making stuff. So I did film that. I'm gonna probably post that in the next few days. Just need to edit that, because that takes a little bit more. There's a camera. I'm like recording the audio on the laptop. You gotta sync them. It's like 3 hours of footage, so I'm gonna have to cut. I'm gonna loosely cut some stuff. I'm not gonna be there like, let me make the most entertaining video and like, oh my god, fuck that. Because even with like editing and vlogs, I wanna do more stuff like that. Like, imagine a vlog of my day or whatever. And even there, like, yeah, there's gonna be editing, but I want it to feel natural, and I want it to feel like a light task, Because if you put yourself this big task, also like Max was saying, how a lot of us tend to overthink all the steps before we even take action. Imagine you're like, oh, I want to do a vlog. You already start thinking, okay, but what camera am I going to use? Am I going to use my phone? Am I going to use this camera? Oh, but this camera doesn't have good audio quality. What am I going to do about that? Or like, where am I going to film? What am I going to do? This is probably too boring. Or he says, like, he's already thinking about which song he's going to make. Oh, it'll be fire if I make the song, and so on. Which are thoughts that we all have, I think a lot of us have. And like he said, it kind of stops you from doing the thing, and it stopped me for years. And that's why I love this way of talking and just talking and having no edit. And I think if you can take that same approach and mindset even to stuff that requires some editing or whatever, you're gonna get such a dope video, and it's just gonna feel light, and you're not gonna feel like it's a big deal for you to do it. And he also, another thing he spoke about was how you get rusty sometimes. He was giving the example of like, because he's a producer, music producer, he's into fashion, he's a DJ, like he does all kinds of stuff. And yeah, he was basically saying how like when you haven't done those things, or when you haven't mixed in a while, you haven't produced in a while, you feel kind of rusty, and it's harder to get back into it. Just like with the gym, imagine you've gotten into a good routine, but then if it's been a month off, 2 months off, whatever, it's a lot harder to take that first step and get back into a routine. But once it's in a routine, it's just part of your being. And it's funny how even now I like sat down and I was like, dude, this is inspiring. Like, I'm not gonna wait to make a video later, and like, because I have some other video ideas that I want to talk about that I had like, they've been in my mind recently. But I was like, nah, I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna click record and talk. And I swear, when I clicked record for a second, I was just like, ugh. Like I clicked record, I was there for like 5 seconds, like and then I stopped recording and I clicked record again, which is what you guys saw. So it's funny how already after just like 3 weeks, I'm just like, oh, what am I gonna talk about? What the fuck, like, and already like, because I had done a few videos, it almost felt like I had to have a specific theme around each video, and to have like a title and have like a topic. I can discuss other things but have it focused. But already, like Max was saying, even just having that idea can like limit you at times. It can be cool, but being like, okay, in this video I'm going to talk about these things, 100% limits you. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, because limiting you could also like focus you in a way. But it's actually really nice to just ramble and, in a sense, just kind of respond to what tickled me internally from his video. So yeah, basically, yeah, that was it. He was talking about, he's had a little bit of a rough time, recently, with like unemployment and trying to find a job. And also he said, he didn't really specify, but something with his health, like maybe he doesn't feel the best, whether that's like physical, mental, like he's just in a bit of a rough patch, But like with anything, I think Max is someone who's very self-aware, and like even when he's in those moments, at least from what I've seen, like he knows that things will get better, and he knows that it's just a phase, just like it's happened before and stuff. And it was actually really nice to just listen to him talk, because I'm not gonna lie, bro, like in conversations sometimes it's hard to just listen. Like I try my best always to just listen in a conversation, but when you're having like a phone call or a conversation, there's also at one point that push that you want to say something or respond, which is amazing. Like, this is awesome, especially if you keep it balanced and you're not like talking over people or like cutting them off. But sometimes I've noticed like I'd be finishing people's thoughts and stuff or something like that. And it was nice here to just let him speak, and I was just listening, So it's actually a really cool way to communicate as well, I think. And yeah, basically that's that. I'm gonna give you a little update, because he was giving a life update to us. My update was, in the last 3 weeks, I finished the vacay off. It was honestly super nice. I rested a lot. I don't even remember anymore what I was doing, but just making tunes, going to the park, chilling. Then university started like 2 weeks ago. I didn't really get in the flow right away. I skipped my first lectures, and even today, right now, I have lectures right now, but I skipped it. So we'll see. Like I'm still getting in the flow. Like I've been going to some lectures, but when you had a month off, getting into it, like I said, also with the gym, it's not gonna happen immediately for me anyway. And maybe it is just a self-belief thing, like Max was saying. It's all mental, but I really don't mind. I like living the slow life, and I'm very happy that I've been blessed to be able to live a slower life and have opportunities come and stuff. It's beautiful, and I really wish that for everyone, So yeah, basically, yeah, the uni stuff, dancing, I'm doing a little Afro vibe. Like I was talking in some of the videos, we did the whole movement therapy 1 month course. That was super beautiful. And actually, on the last class, I felt probably the most liberated when it comes to like the group stuff we were doing, because we're like 20 or 25 people. And at one point, through the music and stuff, we're all just like kind of like one. Like we're all dancing around each other and stuff. And this was probably like the time I felt the most liberated, where I was just like, I didn't feel weird about like touching people and stuff, because it was basically in this class it's mostly women, and then there's obviously a few guys. And as a guy, I'm not saying I can't help it, but like you definitely, I have this feeling, man, as a guy, hear me out. You almost feel like, I mean, you don't want to like make anyone uncomfortable, but especially like you don't really want to make a girl uncomfortable. You know that girls, just females, like women in general, like they're the ones who tend to, well, 100%, they get more like abused, they get stalkers around them, sadly they get like fucking raped and all kinds of fucked up shit, and it happens to men too, but it's mostly women and children, sadly. Random off topic, but let me explain. So, for example, even in a situation where it's like dark outside, let's say, and I'm walking, just like got off the bus, I'm walking, and it's like quiet, there's not a lot of people, and I start walking on a little path, and like a girl just not creeps in, but she also goes on the path, and I'm like a few meters behind her, and I'm walking. Subconsciously, I'm already there, not thinking about it, but I'm already there, making sure I keep my distance, making sure I make it clear that I'm not like trying to run up on her, which is probably crazy. Maybe I'm just like projecting. Maybe that girl wouldn't even feel anything, like, oh, there's a guy behind me. But I almost assume that like a dark environment when there isn't so many people, me as a guy, like it might throw someone off, a girl off, and she might be like, and it's funny, I'm not there thinking about it, I just naturally do it. If I see that there's like another path I can take, I take the other path, because I don't even want to like, cause how sometimes when you're walking at a similar pace, but like you kind of want to overtake someone, the overtaking, since you're walking at a similar speed, is going to take some time. So for a while, they're going to hear your footsteps get closer and closer and closer, and then around. And when it's dark outside and you can tell, it's like, it's funny. Like there's basically that feeling in me, which it might be, I think, overly exaggerated, where I'm almost like, yo, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. And that, I felt that even in the group stuff with all these girls and stuff, because we're supposed to, connect and stuff, and everyone's like, touching each other's bodies, and not like on some sexual shit, it might sound like that, but just, like we're just free, like we're just doing, we're just like, we're kind of entering, we're becoming one, which is so beautiful. Like it felt so liberating, especially that last time. But I feel like in the beginning, I almost had this feeling of like, but is this girl comfortable with this? Because I don't know a lot of these girls personally. Which one is comfortable with me putting like my hand on her shoulder in the back and we're just like intertwined, and which ones are more like, yo, no. And like for the most part you could tell, but then a lot of times I found myself being more on the outside, just kind of like staying in the safe zone where I know like I'm not gonna make anyone uncomfortable, but I'm also just limiting my expression and my connection with the people there, which is really interesting, like how that movement therapy, it really revealed that to me, especially with women. Like pretty much only with women. And I guess also that desire not to be rejected, or not to want to be seen as a creep, not want to, like you don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, but there's for sure a part of that is also because you don't want to be seen as someone that makes people uncomfortable. Like I'm sure that's also influencing it too. You don't want to be judged or rejected in that way, seen as someone that you're not, all that stuff. And that last class, like, thankfully, like that was all gone. We were just all there, just like with our eyes closed. Definitely doing it with the eyes closed helps me. When with my eyes open, I don't know. It feels more weird. It feels like, not more weird, but it feels like there I'm more at risk of like a miscommunication happening. Whereas with our eyes closed, we're just flowing. It doesn't matter. Nothing's personal. I don't know whose leg or whatever I'm touching. And like, which makes it less like, yeah, just like less personal. We're just all together in one. It doesn't matter what's going on in that sense. So So yeah, that was super interesting. I don't know how I got here to explaining this, but I guess yeah, I was just giving you guys an update. So that was really cool. It's been super warm and nice like recently the last few days. I went playing tennis with my boy Pete. Next time maybe we'll record some of that. It was really fucking good, and I was honestly quite impressed, man. Homie had like nice technique, nice shots. Like you could just tell he's played tennis before, like properly. Even though many years ago, like he said, it's in his body. You can tell. Because when last summer, like this summer that just passed, well, you know what I mean. We played with some homies in the beginning. Like we were all super trash, you know. Like we couldn't get the serves in. Like it was a mess, you know, which is understandable. And he didn't really have that, you know. Like obviously he feels rusty and stuff, but we could have like games and we were playing and it was dope. So shout out to him, man. We're gonna play more of that. Shout out to Max. Hopefully I get to play with you soon too. He's really good. And yeah, man, that's basically my little update. You know, I've been living, I've been thriving. You know, dancing. 2 days ago, I did another, like, there was an audition for a dance role in a commercial. And it was like the first time I went to an audition where like they showed us like a little choreo and we did it together, and then we did like a freestyle again, which I've done before once or twice. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I had like no expectations of it. I was trying to just like not even think about it, just show up, do my thing, and it was a chill vibe. I have no idea, you know, if they're gonna take me, or it doesn't really matter to me. And obviously, a lot of the people there, pretty much everyone there, is like quite a bit more experienced than me. So yeah, that helped me just have no expectations. I was like, I'm here for the ride. Thank you that you guys called me. Some of like these dance people reached out to me. Shout out Steph. And yeah, man, I think that's it. I have two topics in mind that they were already in my mind like the last like week or so, and I wanted to share them. But I think I'm gonna do separate videos on those, or not even necessarily like because it has to be just a video about that topic, but it's just I'm already at 17 minutes. I don't necessarily feel like getting into another thing right now. But yeah, one of them is obviously, but for me it's obvious because it's the power of self-belief. I've been reading this book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it's like one of like these OG like, I guess self-improvement, but it's more like, I guess manifestation, but super focused on like how it's all your self-image in a way, you know, and yeah, like I'll get into that, you know, but basically changing your self-image and yeah, basically like your self-image is what constitutes to your subconscious mind and your whole personality what is possible for you, you know. So if your self-image says that like you're late all the time, it's gonna be quite hard for you to be on time, you know. But if your self-image is that like you're very punctual and like, you know, you're communicative, you're always on time, you know, like you're always precise with that shit, you're gonna act in that way. And you literally can't, like, it's super hard to force yourself to do something that doesn't correspond to your self-image, even if your self-image is very negative. Yeah, like it's just something that, it's just like a system in us. It's our internal like compass. It's our internal, it makes like our subconscious makes most of the decisions in our life, you know. So you can try with effort to change, but basically what this guy's saying, and what obviously a lot of these like law of assumption, law of attraction people say, is that your mind doesn't recognize the difference between an imagined experience, which how do I say this, which contributes to your self-image, or like a physical experience. So let's say, like, imagine your whole life you've believed that you're weak, like you're just a weak person, like physically, let's say, like you just have a weak body, like I can't lift weights, I can't do all that stuff, like it's just not for me, let's say. Bless you, thank you. Let's say you have an experience, like you use a lot of mental power. You're like, no, I'm gonna prove myself wrong, I'm gonna go to the gym. Or maybe something happens, you know, maybe something happens and it reveals to you like, oh, actually I can lift something, You know, like, oh, I just helped someone. Like, oh, someone was needed some help. I helped them. Oh, maybe I'm stronger. Most random example that came to my mind. But anyway, that's gonna tell your brain, oh, maybe something's wrong with that self-image. Maybe we need to update that self-image, you know? And if you have more of those experiences and you get curious and you're like, oh, maybe I'm actually good at this, whatever it is, you're creating a new self-image. The thing is, a lot of times that can take a lot of effort, and a lot of times you're not even gonna go do the things that could reveal to you that it's all in your head. Or even if you go there, like, you can show up somewhere. Like, imagine you think you're not funny, but you know you decide that you're gonna go to a stand-up open mic just to prove to yourself. Even if, yeah, technically you could be funny, like, you could be a funny person, or maybe you are already a funny person, you just don't perceive it yourself. Just you having that self-image is probably gonna affect how you are on the mic. You might feel a little weird. You're not gonna maybe like liberate yourself. You're gonna be thinking about what other people are thinking. It's probably gonna be a mess. It's probably not gonna be fun. But if you start imagining in your head those things, like you being funny, you having the reaction you want, or you achieving whatever it is, like you getting the role, you getting, you just being happy, like you having a good friend group, you having a stable family, like everyone in your family is happy and you guys are thriving, whatever it is you're imagining, it doesn't have to be material. A lot of times it can just be like a feeling and a state of being. If you imagine that, especially before bed, but just in general, and you make it as real as possible, you do you really feel those things, it's gonna start affecting your day-to-day. But anyway, I'm getting into it. I don't know why. I'm gonna get into another video. And the other thing is about like the privilege and also the difficulties that come with having a lot of multiple interests. And it was really cool because like Max's video really like ignited that. That was like the one that maybe like a week ago or so I was like thinking about, or even before actually. Like almost, it was like one of the things that I was thinking about as like my next video after the last video I made, but I just never got around to it and kind of just had a break, I guess, naturally. And yeah, I think it's a huge privilege having multiple interests. And you can say, bro, everyone has multiple interests, you know. People have a job, they probably have like a certain sport, maybe they read books, like, you know, everyone has multiple interests. But I'm more talking about the people that are like really interested in like multiple things, and they could see either one being like their passion, or like all of them are just a combination, like the combination of all of them is like their passion. And a lot of times that can be confusing, like how am I gonna sustain myself out of these things? Am I gonna have to just pick one, which is usually what society tells you to do, like pick one, get good at that. But Max, like he was saying in his video, he said like, I'm not really a master at any of this stuff. I've always had like different stuff going on, and sometimes that makes it hard to focus, and sometimes it can overwhelm us because we have like task paralysis. We have all these things we could do. I could be working on music right now, I could be making a video, I could be working on fashion, or like whatever, styling, you know, he does styling. Or for me, like I could be doing dance stuff, making a choreo, like really anything. Well, not anything, because like we still have certain interests more than others, like more than, you know, I don't necessarily care right now in my life about like growing flowers, you know. Like had I had like a yard, I'd probably fuck with that, but right now it's just not a priority in my life. It's not a thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about that basically. Those are two things: the power of self-belief, and then the privilege and difficulties that come with having multiple interests, and how I think in today's world we're like the best suited. Today's world I think is the best suited for us in that sense, and I think sharing stuff online has it's a huge part of the puzzle in my opinion, to make that like a sustainable life and an enjoyable life. Having multiple interests and pursuing them, and not just deciding to focus on one and keep everything else as like kind of like a secondary hobby. Which also that's there's nothing wrong with that. It's just there's certain people that it just wouldn't satisfy us, you know? Like maybe it satisfies us for a few months, but then we have to change focus to something else. And that's one of the possible, I think, scenarios where that could work. So yeah, it's 25 minutes in. I'm gonna call it, I don't even know what to call it, but basically, thank you, Max, for posting that video. I love that for you, man. It's a big step in my opinion. It's not like a big step, like you have to make it a bigger deal than it isn't for yourself, because then it feels like But from the outside perspective, it's really cool to see, and it was a surprise for me, and it was a really nice surprise, and it was a really great video, and wish you all the best, man. Things are definitely gonna be aligning and changing, and you even just taking this step to like express, that's change right there. You know, you're shifting your paradigm, and like you said, how before, you know, you've overthought many things and you've wanted to post videos for many years or whatever, but you never did it. You just changed that. You know, you just did that step and realized maybe, oh, maybe it doesn't have to be so difficult. Maybe it doesn't have to be produced, and maybe it doesn't have to take a lot of time and effort for it to be valuable, not only for you, but for other people, you know? And that's like a crazy liberation, being like, oh, actually, like, I am enough just as I am, just talking, you know? I think that's beautiful. So good for you, man. I love you. Shout out Pete. You know, I was talking about Pete. Great videos, man. Great guy. Actually, I'm gonna link both of their channels under in the description. Pete does more, at least so far, he's done more like edits and stuff, you know, whether it's like footage of him just doing his thing, him and the homies doing his thing on a trip, or whether he takes footage from online and just like does like a fucking really cool edit with it. He does really cool stuff, but just like the rest of us, he has so many different interests, so who knows what he's gonna post in the future. Either way, it's gonna be amazing. And yeah, that's it. Love the homies. Keep doing your thing, everybody, man. Everyone who's watching this, keep doing your thing. And we'll see. I don't know when the next video is coming, but you know, we got that music video. Well, a video of us making music in the park coming, and yeah, possibly these other little videos. That's it from me. I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know that following your heart will never fail you. If you're truly following your heart, like, you might go places where it's uncomfortable. You might go places where you didn't necessarily want. And I'm still coming to terms with that. It's not like I'm a fucking free electron, you know, just liberated. That's not what I'm saying. But anytime, any good thing, pretty much, yeah, any amazing thing in my life has come from just being present and allowing myself to be vulnerable and express myself, and in that sense take a risk, but also just follow what my intuition is telling me to do, regardless of how I think like how I think things are gonna turn out, because truly we don't know how things are gonna turn out. And it's more like, usually what you think is gonna happen and what you assume is gonna happen is a lot of times what ends up happening. And that's where like the power of like having a positive self-image and imagining and feeling the things that you want in your life can really help, because it feels natural and you start expecting those things subconsciously, maybe even consciously at one point, but like subconsciously you start expecting these things, and you also notice them. Just the way like when you're focused on noticing like a red car, you know, you're on the bus as a kid and you're like, oh, red car, ha ha ha, like yellow car, huh? Whatever color you're focusing on, you're gonna see way more than you usually notice, because you're looking for that. And a lot of times, even though we say we want certain things, our body, our self-image, our mind, our subconscious, our nervous system, they're all wired to focus on things that are negative, you know, possible threats, possible fears, possible danger, possible failure, possible rejection. Even if it's not like you're actually like this all the time, there's those undertones there that are influencing us. For some, it's like their whole personality, and sadly they've been led to believe that they're just a failure and they can't do anything wrong. And for some of us, it's a little more nuanced and it changes over time. And for some people, they've liberated themselves from that. And it's important to have self-compassion for yourself, love yourself the way you are now. Like, this is just stuff from the past. It's just, you've did your best in the past, and this is how you've turned out, like, with your psyche. You've done certain things, you've made certain conclusions. You had to keep living, keep moving forward, you know? But now, in the present is where the power lies, and we can change those things. We can imagine and we can cultivate a more positive self-image, one that aligns with our desires, with our dreams, and in a way our purpose, in a way like who maybe we're meant to be. Like maybe we are destined for great things, you know? I think we are. I think everyone is. I think humanity is. And it starts at the individual level and then it grows. Just the way Max just posted this video, and it was a step for him. and it influenced me. It got me to make a video. Like, we're all connected. It's all connected. It's all one. So it's not even like an egotistical thing to think like, oh, I'm destined for more, and not even like more in like this consumerism. I need more likes and more appreciation, but just like further freedom, further expansion, further curiosity. We all have things that we're interested in, or we usually, if you have a little bit of awareness, which we all do, like you can tell where you're kind of limiting yourself, or you're judging yourself, or whatever it is. So just moving through that, accepting that, being there for it, but then correcting certain beliefs that aren't beneficial for you or in alignment anymore, through visualization, through the feeling, through also just taking different making different decisions, taking different approaches to things, expanding your horizon, even just like meeting new people. But a lot of times we're not gonna do that until our self-image allows us to. So it is usually just like an internal first. You know, you can push through it. You can push through. I think they say like 95% of our daily actions are ruled by our subconscious and 5% by our conscious. So you could use those 5% and really like, nah, man, I'm gonna discipline it through. Like, I'm not gonna pay attention to my emotions. I'm not gonna pay attention to this. You could do that. People do that and they change their mind and they change their self-image that way. But I think a more gentle approach, internal approach, is gonna feel effortless eventually, you know. So yeah, that's it, man. Big love. I'm gonna see y'all soon. Oh, that wasn't the bear. Bye.